Welcome to the show, and I told you I was going to start doing this more frequently. It's like 2 times in 2 days. We're going to talk some UVA basketball here on the podcast. Virginia with, gosh, one of the more enjoyable wins as a fan I've seen in years, and then when you go from the analytical perspective, maybe the most thorough win for a Virginia team over a quality opponent since, dare I say, the 2018-2019 season. Virginia 60, Miami 38 Monday night, big Monday in JPJ. And what a great crowd there was for the game. Great energy in the building, except for the Miami kids. Virginia took Miami out of the game with a 12-0 run after Virginia only scored one basket in the first almost 6 minutes, down 7-2. 12-0 run makes it 14-7. A couple of baskets by Miami got it within three. Then another run, 11-0 for Virginia. The Who's led 29-17 at the half, another 18-4 run out of the halftime break over the next 8 minutes. And man, run, run, run. And that game was over. And Miami 38 points, averaging 80.8 per game won the season. Just an amazing feat defensively. Virginia running really efficient offense. 5 of 11 from three. I think it was 46% from the field. 3 turnovers in the game. Everything you can say about that game and more, Virginia did well, and did it all with just two guys scoring in double figures. Um, Jake Groves fueled the first couple of runs. He finished with 12 points in 16 minutes. He's shooting 50% from three-point range this season. Reese Beekman in front of about a dozen NBA scouts, and I might be underestimating that number. You're sitting up there with us in the quote-unquote media section towards the back of section 107. There were a couple rows of NBA scouts in attendance for this one, and Beekman made himself some money last night. 6 of 11 from the floor, 7 assists, 1 turnover. And then on defense, he pitched a shutout. The guys he was guarding, no points on 0 of 7 shooting. You can't do much better than that. Ryan Dunn, 8 points, 4 of 5 shooting, 8 rebounds. And on defense, he gave up 3 points. He had 2 blocks and 2 steals. So Dunn may have made some money too, or at least he's giving himself more to think about when the season comes to an end about his future. Dunn, a projected potential lottery pick if he comes out as a sophomore, though there is still a lot of work to his game needs to be done. He could get paid to do that. That might be an option for him. So big win for Virginia. Uh, there wasn't much for me to say in my post-game recap. So the first story that we wrote when I got back to the home office was about Jim Larranaga's press conference after. I was looking forward to it. I don't attend the press conferences anymore. Scott German from AFP does. He goes down and monitors those. And he came back to me after. I stay up on press row and write my game recap. And my game recap is different than others, obviously, more analytical than anything else. But it's the story I write right after the game. And he comes up and says, "You're not gonna believe it, Chris. Larranaga didn't take any questions. He came in, sat down, any questions, and left." As it turns out, he took one question, a question I didn't quite get from the video on YouTube that Virginia Athletics put up. Something about the how the game turned, and his one answer was the game. Uh, uh, they just outplayed us in every aspect of the game. We didn't play well. They played really well. Thank you for your attention. Got up and left. 27 seconds. He was done. I was actually looking forward to. Larranaga's usually a glib guy. He's a New Yorker through and through, so he'll be brutally honest. I guess that was him being brutally honest. I really wanted to hear what he had to say, though, about what Virginia was able to do, suffocating his team with Virginia's defense. Things of that nature. He was having none of it. In fact, I noted that according to Scott, uh, Tony Bennett is usually a guy who comes out. He's the first guy for a press conference, no matter what. He wants to get it over and done with. He hates talking to the media. It's just one of his quirks. We all have our quirks. And Tony will talk briefly to his team, come in and deal with the media, and then he's done. Um, Larranaga beat him to the punch last night. According to Scott, people were still getting into their seats from walking down from the media section upstairs. And Larranaga was already like, "Okay, let's get this over with." And he got it over with pretty quick. Uh, and I just 27 seconds, man. Best post-game presser I've ever seen in my estimation, as far as that goes. Um, my five observations, if I can spit that out from last night. I gave you some numbers briefly. 38 points. That's the lowest Miami's had in an ACC game in its history, averaging 80.8 coming in. Norchad Omier came in averaging 19.9 points, 9.2 boards. He had 13 boards and 11 points. So he actually had a decent game for a team that scored 38 points. The other guys, not so much. The three other guys on this Miami team averaged 14 plus a game. Matthew Cleveland had one of four shooting 2 points in 30 minutes. He shot the ball four times. Nigel Pack came in averaging 14.7 points. He had two free throws for his 2 points in 33 minutes. And Wooga Poplar had come in averaging 14.2 points. He had eight. So he had the best game of those three of 12 shooting in 31 minutes. Just amazing what Virginia was able to do defensively against a really good Miami offensive team. Getting more to the Beekman and Dunn thing, Beekman, his 16 points was on 6 of 11 shooting. He had 7 assists, 1 turnover. And Dunn, Dunn's game, I've said this the last couple of weeks, trying to explain to people why, he doesn't do more on offense in some games. His game is derivative. That's what I've termed his game. He's not a guy, at least at this point in his career, Dunn's not a guy that's going to create his own shot. You're not going to give him the ball, clear out for him, and expect him to dribble drive past the guy and do anything with it. Either hit a mid-range jump shot, step back three, get to the rim on his own. He's a guy that needs to be set up on his shots, whether it be a pass as he's cutting through the lane, a pick and roll, him running off a screen, the little pocket pass, as they call it in the mover blocker offense, or offensive rebound. That's how he gets his points. And when he doesn't do that, he's still valuable to the team, setting his screens and then playing defense and rebounding. He's the team's leading rebounder. He's one of the best shot blockers in the country. But he did what he needed to do last night from that sense. That's still, analyzing him as an NBA prospect, he could improve his stock if he were to be able to develop the ability to create some of his own shots. But he'll have to decide his future in that respect. Last night, Virginia 13 of 17 at the rim. Beekman was 5 of 6 at the rim, as far as that goes. Also, the 4 of 5 for Dunn. It was 4 of 5 at the rim. And let's see, what was the other thing here? Yeah, Miami didn't foul much, 6 fouls in a game. And when I first saw that, I thought, oh, wow, 6 fouls. That's all they had. Sometimes when you have 6 fouls in a game, it's because you've played really good defense without having to make contact. Sometimes it's because you didn't play good defense at all. And I think it was more the fact the latter last night for Miami. In fact, Larinaga went to a zone a few times to try to do something different because Virginia was getting so many good looks out of its mover blocker, either the threes or the pocket passes or mid-range shots. The zone didn't work either. That just left guys open for threes. And also they were able to get inside the zone. Virginia exposed a lot, at least last night. I've not watched Miami closely this season, just seen them here and there. So I don't know if defense is an issue for this team in general this season. But last night did not see a lot of good defense. They gave up just 60 points, you want to say, but Virginia had 53 possessions in the game. It was a low possession game, very slow tempo game. And Virginia took a great advantage of Miami's lack of will on defense last night. Big night for Blake Buchanan was one of my observations. Not counting numbers wise. 6 points on 3 of 7 shooting, 2 rebounds, 2 blocks, and a steal in 22 minutes. But the number that stands out the most was his plus minus of plus 25. Jordan Minor got an early foul, had to go to the bench. Tony Bennett decided to go to Buchanan. And I know myself, Buchanan has been overpowered at times this season by big guys in the post. I mean, early in the season, think about that Wisconsin game as an example of that. And so, him having to guard Omier was definitely something that was frightening to think about. He held his own and more. That's why you see a plus 25 in his plus minus. That's astounding for a guy who played 22 minutes. So that's That's a feather in the cap there. I mean, Jordan Minor and his insertion in the starting lineup was what turned this team around. Virginia's won 7 straight now, and they're 7-1 in minor starts. If though we can see a lot more of that kind of thing out of Blake Buchanan, that just makes Virginia even more dangerous because if one guy gets into foul trouble, you got the other guy back there. Wanted to go into something. I got a great email this morning from a regular reader, Russell. We've been talking a lot, writing a lot about on the website about the Andrew Rohde issue. Let's just call it that. Kid starting. It was a 17 point a game scorer last year, transferred in from St. Thomas, um, and he's really struggled at Virginia, averaging less than 5 points a game. And the back and forth with readers, etc., has been should Rohde even be playing at all, much less starting for this team. Russell's opinion, just wanted to add in my 2 cents. I think he's going to end up being a good player for the Hoos. Agree he should not be getting 30 minutes a game. 20 or so is okay. Now, I'll read through what, and this is on the website, but I'll read through what Russell had to say. He's better than what he's shown offensively, I believe. He can drive to the basket, has a decent outside shot. He seems scared to drive at this point. When he is open, he usually converts at a good percentage. And that's a point I'll make when I looked at the numbers. Because what you see with your eyes sometimes is maybe not what the stats will tell you. Strange thing I've noticed, Russell said, is he ends up taking at least 1 or 2 shots he has to hoist up to beat the shot clock. And that's why his shooting percentage may not be as good as it could be. So I'll have a point about that as well. He's a solid defender. His size creates problems for those he guards. And I like Dante Harris. Do not love his shot selection. Tane Murray's played really well. Hope he continues to get minutes. And if UVA can get the best version of Rohde, this will be a better team. So I understand why Rohde plays. One thing he does, he does create. He's as a sort of a point guard, bigger point guard, kind of like a Ty Jerome point guard. He averages just under 3 assists a game, and he's averaged more than that. His numbers have gone down lately. He's careful with the ball. His turnover assist to turnover ratio is 2.5 to 1, and defensively he is pretty good. Offensively, though, he is a big liability for this team. Um, Rohde plays a lot because Tony Bennett, since the year with Kihei Clark and Ty Jerome starting the national championship year, Tony likes to play with 2 guys who are great ball handlers, basically, or point guards on the floor. He plays 3 guards, so you can get away with that because your third guard ends up being a 2 guard in most people's systems. Then you play with 2 forwards who set screens for you on offense. So but Tony's been getting away from that of late. I pointed out that last night, the 3 guys who play point for Tony, being Beekman, Rohde, and then Dante Harris off the bench, played a total of 57 minutes. And if you think, I wanted to check and make sure that wasn't just because last night was a blowout game with a lot of garbage minutes. When you think that the number should have to add up to 80. If you play, 40 minutes in 2 positions, that's 80 minutes. And those 3 guys playing those 2 positions played 57. The Clemson game, which was a tight game, those 3 guys played 62 minutes. The NC State game, they played 72, but there were 90 minutes of floor time for those 2 positions because that game was overtime. So even that one, Tony went 18 minutes with just one point guard on the floor. 18 minutes in a Clemson game, 23 minutes last night. So Tony's getting away a little bit from that philosophy where he always has to have 2 point guards on the floor. And so there's one factor there. And on the shooting side of things, I had to point a couple things out. I subscribe to a number of sports analytics, basketball analytics sites. One of them is a site called Synergy Sports. On open shots, so the observation from Russell was that Rohde actually makes a lot of open shots. He's 11 of 39 on unguarded jumpers, according to Synergy. That's 28.2%. So that belies that observation from our reader. Tane Murray on unguarded shots is 47.1%. Also on the observation about Rohde being good at getting to the rim, he's 9 of 18 at the rim in a lot more minutes. Tane Murray in a lot less minutes is 9 of 13, 69.2% on shots at the rim. Tane finishes a lot better at the rim. Jake Groves of late, since Jordan Minor took over as a starting center, Jake Groves has been getting a lot more minutes at the third guard spot. So that's when Tony goes away from playing 2 point guards on the floor, those minutes, a lot of them are going to Jake Groves, at least of late, since the Jordan Minor ascension of the lineup. So when you look at Groves' numbers, Groves on open jumpers shoots 50%, and actually on contested jumpers is even better, 51.5%. Interesting. Um, Defensively, yeah, Rohde is better. He gives up a average of 0.780 points per possession. That's a very good number according to Synergy. Murray allows 0.829 points per possession. What that means, essentially over 100 possessions, Rohde would give up 78 points. Murray would give up 82.9, 83 points. So 5 more points over 100 possessions. The numbers for Groves when he's playing either the 3 or 4 spot, not the 5 spot, he's giving up, where's the number here? 0.846, so 84.6 per 100 possessions. So I mean, there's a difference there. Rohde's better. He's about 6.7, almost 7 points better per 100 possessions than Groves. But then Groves on the other side is a much better shooter. Then there was the observation about the late shot clock shots. And it's a fair observation. I mean, if a guy's shooting a lot of shots at the end of the shot clock, those are rush shots in a lot of cases. You're going to have a lower percentage because you have less time you got to pull the trigger. So there's a stat for everything. Now another subscription site that I pay to have access to their numbers called Hoop Math. Hoop Math says that in those last 5 seconds of shot clock situations, there's a number for everything. Isaac McNeely leads the team with 50 field goal attempts in the last 5 seconds of a shot clock, and he's 21 of 50 on those shots. That's not bad. 42% on those rush shots. And he's 11 of 21 from 3. So, okay, next time you're watching, pay attention. Let's get the ball to Isaac McNeely in the last 5 seconds, right? Not surprisingly, Reese Beekman has a lot of those shots, 47. Balls in his hands a lot. He's 16 of 47, 34% on those shots. Then there's Groves, 11 of 28, 39.3%. He's 7 of 15 from 3. So another guy to look for late in the shot clock. Then there's Rohde. He's 6 of 26, 23.1%, 3 of 19 from 3. Those numbers, unfortunately for him, track with his season-long numbers in a lot of ways. It's not like he's shooting a lot. In fact, he's tied for 4th. I know that actually Ryan Dunn has 26 attempts in late shot clock situations as well. So I'm not suggesting, and like some are, that Andrew Rohde should be benched to the point of not playing, but I think his numbers should be diminished from where they are. I'd like to see more of them go to Tane Murray. I'd like to see more of them go to Jake Groves. But Tony has his reasons, as we all know, and it's his team. But I'm just here to tell you what the numbers say. One last place where I can tell you what the numbers say, and then we'll be wrapping up the show here. And this one's a quick one, but updating the metrics where Virginia stands with the computers after that win last night. Virginia fans have been fretting the last few weeks. Oh my God, what's going to happen? Joe Lunardi says something, and Joe Lunardi's supposed to be an expert, and what's going to happen? I have long subscribed to the theory, even back when we were all thinking Tony Bennett is ready to hang it up when Virginia was 2-3 and getting blown out every time they left JPJ, that just chase quality basketball and the rest of it will take care of itself. And now 7 wins in a row later, things are looking pretty, but things can go back and forth, certainly, and they will. It's February. Looking at the metrics now, after I've said all that, Virginia did itself well last night with that win. Not just, obviously, impressing the hell out of anybody who pays attention to college basketball, holding Miami to 38 points, winning by 22. But in the computer rankings, computers don't have feelings. They don't watch games. They just look at the numbers and take what their algorithms are programmed to spit back out. Virginia improved in all the major metrics. There are 6 that the NCAA Tournament Selection Committee uses. Virginia improved in all of them. Right now, the average rank is 33. NET, which a lot of people think is the only one that is used by the selection committee, Virginia improved from 42 to 32. So a 10-point jump there. The average ranking jump was 5.7 from earlier in the day yesterday till after the games last night. So Virginia right now ranking 33rd as an average. That would suggest an 8 seed in the tournament. I think Lunardi has Virginia as one of the last 4 buys, which would suggest an 11 seed for this team. and that is what it is. Uh, the metrics say otherwise, and here's the thing: going back to where it is, and I'm looking at my calendar here. It's February 6th. The season ends. What would it be? March 9th. Home game with Georgia Tech. That's still more than a month away. 4 weeks from this Saturday, right? Virginia is 9-3 in the ACC. That means there's 8 more games to play. There's some tough ones in there, obviously. Duke and Carolina both at Virginia Tech, at Florida State this weekend. We'll have a preview of that coming up in the next couple of days. So 9-3 and being an 8 seed isn't where we are or where we're going to be. I should say it's where we are. It's not where we're going to be, and things can improve or fall back. But just keep chasing that quality basketball. If teams are going to start adjusting to what Virginia's adjustments have been, putting Jordan Minor in the game, playing a true center at that position, getting the good minutes out as a backup from Blake Buchanan. So you give good coaches enough time to think things through, and they'll figure out a counter, and then it's going to be, can Virginia counter the counter? Seeing the more improved minutes for Jake Groves is already part of a response from Tony Bennett. But we'll see. Things have to continue to get tweaked as the season goes on. But I like where this team is right now. Defensively, obviously, 38 points to a Miami team. Offensively, I think looking better too. This team's a lot better than it was a month ago. It's a lot better than it was at the start of the season. It's starting to live up to, I mean, I'm the idiot. At least I felt like I was an idiot a few weeks ago when I was looking at 2-3 in the ACC, all these blowout losses on the road. I crowed a lot back in October about how I thought this Virginia team was being overlooked as an ACC title contender because I thought that this league was down to Carolina and Virginia. And I thought that Virginia might have the advantage. Um, as it's went 2-3 with all those blowout losses on the road to one to a not very good Notre Dame team, good NC State and Wake Forest teams, but they shouldn't beat you as badly as they did. I felt pretty stupid for having gone off on how Virginia was being overlooked, but now at 9-3 with some quality wins, some momentum moving forward. This is something that we can all feel good about. Just got to keep going. Just got to keep getting that quality basketball plugged away there. So, wrapping up the podcast here. Keep those mailbag emails coming in, man. I tell you what, people ask really good questions. I'm not surprised. This Virginia fan base. I mean, one, we're almost, mostly Virginia people, right? So we're UVA alums in a lot of cases. Most cases, those who aren't are smart people anyway. And then to appreciate Virginia basketball. Tony Bennett doesn't roll the ball out there and ask his guys to just go play hard. It's a system. It takes a lot to play, and it takes a lot to watch. We have all learned a lot about basketball in these last 15 years, right? So no, but I love the questions. I love people challenging and wanting to know more, and it makes me know more when I have to look up the answer. So please, if you want me to address something in a future mailbag, future podcast, please email me at chris@augustafreepress.com.